Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Armenta, and today I'll be presenting on the link between silica dust exposure and the risk of scoliosis among mine workers. This topic is particularly important as it highlights significant health risk faced by workers and explores the strategies to mitigate them. Silica dust is a material naturally found on Earth. When small silica particles are released into the air during mining and construction activities, they can be inhaled, causing serious lung diseases like scoliosis. Scoliosis develops with prolonged exposures to these particles, leading to lung tissue damage and scarring. This is a global issue, with millions of workers being exposed worldwide. And today we'll explore the health risk, health impacts, and preventive measures that we could do to better protect workers from this hazard. And for the problem statement is that silica dust is 100 times smaller than beach sand created during mining and construction, and it makes it nearly invisible to and easy to inhale. And in many mining environments, tasks like drilling and crushing stones create an abundance of silica particles, and workers are significantly at risk, especially in poor ventilated settings where these particles remain suspended in the air, and over time this exposure leads to an incurable condition called scoliosis, characterized by inflammation, scarring, and severe damage to the lung tissues. And for the results and discussions that when workers inhale silica dust, the particles travel deep into the lungs, triggering an immune response and causing inflammation. And over time, fibrotic nodules form, reducing the lung capacity and elasticity. This leads to a progressive respiratory issue that worsens with prolonged exposure. The problem is that it's compounded by environmental factors like arid climates or insufficient dust suppressions, which makes these particles even more prevalent in many mining sites that are very terrible and not regulated, as it causes so many hosts of issues for workers overall. And for the risk factors is that not all tasks carry the same risk. For example, shock operators experience the highest exposure with silica dust that far exceeds safety limits. Stone mining and milling also ranks as among the most dangerous activities. Globally, disparities in safety regulations increase these risks. In regions with lax enforcements, workers even face a higher level of exposures, as in these mining operations. Not only that the miners are exposed, but everybody in that area is exposed as well. Even the people who are delivering it have some form of exposure. And since this is something that's incurable, we don't want this to continue to happen over long years, because a little bit might not sound like a lot, but over a 40, 50, 80-year span, it could develop into a huge serious issue. And for the health impacts about this is that initially scoliosis manifests as a mild symptoms like coughing and shortness of breath. However, as it progresses, it can lead to severe pulmonary dysfunction and reduced quality of life. Scoliosis is also linked to comorbidities such as tuberculosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and lung cancer. These findings underscore the critical need for preventative measures, as it's not only scoliosis but so many other things that can impact and just overall just lowers the quality of life of these workers. And for the epidemiological insights is that studies show alarming trends. For instance, 30% of underground miners in Ghana exhibited scoliosis symptoms, and in China, over 40% of non-coal miners were at high risk due to excessive scalia exposures. Similar patterns are seen globally, especially in artificial stoneworkers, where inadequate safety measures further exacerbate the issues. These statistics highlight the urgent need for intervention. And for the preventative measures that we can take is that we could do easy for the engineering controls, like wet cutting and water-based dust suppression has proven effective in lowering airborne silica levels. Administrative strategies such as proper worker training and scheduling to minimize exposures are equally important. Additionally, personal protective equipment like respirators provide an essential line of defense. And recommendations I recommend is are implementing a comprehensive safety framework that includes health monitoring, strict exposure limits, and regular training for workers. By doing all of this, it prioritizes safety and enforcing these measures globally. We can create a safer, healthier working environment for mine workers. It will affect these workers in so many ways, and their health and their lives, and for their families as well. And in conclusion, the link between silica dust and scoliosis is well documented. Without adequate safety measures, workers face significant health risks, often lead to lifelong complications. However, with preventative strategies and a strong regulatory framework, we can mitigate these risks and ensure a sustainable future for the mining industry. And thank you for your attention. And here are my references for my slides and for my presentation.